Coming up on today's show, Ford closes pre-reservations for its F-150 Lightning pickup truck as it hits 200,000 hand raisers and prepares to turn those pre-orders into confirmed orders. The Renault ZOE's decade-old design starts to show its age as it gets 0 stars in EuroNCAP testing, and Porsche reveals a new Grand Tourer concept that you'll be able to drive virtually. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to your weekly news roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy, aka TEN. It's great to see you again. Make sure you hit the bell and subscribe, and if you're so inclined, become a patron over at patreon.com. If everyone who watched donated $1 a month, we'd be able to cover so much more. Today's show is sponsored by UGears. There's still just time to inspire, educate and entertain your loved ones this holiday season with one of UGears' incredible, fully functioning wooden mechanical models. Stick around and we'll tell you more. And today's show is also sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. There's a new name, but it's the same great organisation that could help you transition to a cleaner future and help you finance your own clean energy or transportation purchase. Ever since the Ford F-150 Lightning was unveiled this spring, we've watched as the number of pre-reservation holders has grown. And disclaimer, as one of those pre-reservation holders, I'm pretty eager to get my pre-reservation converted to an actual order. This week, Ford confirmed that it has hit 200,000 pre-reservations, and with production capacity about one half of what it needs to build that many vehicles in a timely fashion, has announced it's decided to close pre-reservations for now. This is terrible news for anyone who hasn't already put down a Benjamin to wait in line, but Ford says it's now making final preparations to begin converting those pre-reservations to actual orders. It will begin doing this in a staged way starting in January, with the first customers expecting to get their trucks sometime in spring. I'll be sharing my journey on the channel, so watch this space. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 have now both received their official EPA range ratings, and since they are built on the same Hyundai Kia eGMP platform, have very similar capabilities. Last week on the show, we shared the Ioniq 5's ratings, but the Kia EV6, which shares the same drivetrain and battery pack as the Ioniq 5, has actually come out a little better on paper. The all-wheel drive long-range EV6 gets an official EPA range rating of 274 miles, 440 kilometers per charge of its 77 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack, while the rear-wheel drive long-range EV6 manages 310 miles, 499 kilometers, using the same amount of power. When it comes to efficiency, this means the Kia EV6 long-range rear-wheel drive is one of the most efficient crossover EVs you can buy, beaten only by the Hyundai Kona EV and the long-range Tesla Model Y. Oh, and our very own Kate Walton-Elliott has just got back from driving the Hyundai Ioniq 5 in California, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. In last week's show, I talked about some of the controversy that's been sparked when Stellantis' CEO Carlos Tavares warned about the challenges of transitioning the brand to electric, leading many in the industry to incorrectly claim that the automaker was ardently anti-EV. This week, during its annual software day, however, we were given some proof that that's most certainly not the case, with Stellantis showcasing a new concept called the Chrysler Airflow EV. It's an evolution of the Chrysler Airflow Vision study that was first unveiled back in January 2020, and according to the executives who were on stage with it, the vehicle will be built on one of the 4 stellar platforms unveiled earlier this year at the brand's EV Day. Stellantis says it will be deploying 3 new AI-powered technology platforms in 2024 across all of those 4 stellar EV platforms, and some hints are dropped that the 5-seat Airflow could be one of the first vehicles to use both. Watch this space. EuroNCAP, the European-wide safety testing organisation for the automotive industry, published a whole slew of new crash test results this week, with the majority of vehicles, both electric and non-electric, achieving a full 5 stars. But one car, specifically the Renault ZOE, was given a terrible rating by the safety organization for its abysmal performance, scoring 0 out of a possible 5 stars. In fact, it's one of only 3 cars in history to ever perform so badly. The reason for this? Well, it's a little complicated, and partly down to the fact that while the Renault ZOE has received some tweaks in its near decade of production, those tweaks have actually negatively impacted rather than improved on its original 5-star EuroNCAP rating. And then there's the lack of advanced safety features in the car, which led to a safety assist score of just 14%. Add this to the fact that EuroNCAP tests are far more stringent today than they were in 2012, and it's easy to see why the car has failed to impress. Essentially, the Renault ZOE hasn't improved in line with the industry's safety expectations. Back in 2016, Tesla revealed the second generation of its Autopilot system, just 2 years after first exposing the world to the idea of Tesla Autopilot for the very first time. To showcase its capabilities, Tesla published a video in which a Tesla Model X is shown driving from a house to one of its offices, with no intervention from the driver. But now a New York Times expose cites 2 former Tesla employees who claim that in order for the vehicle to perform as requested on that day, a 3-dimensional digital map was first created, which the car then followed, something not mentioned in the video and something which wasn't a standard Autopilot feature at the time. It cites in its article 3 people who worked on the video as claiming at one point the vehicle hit a roadside barrier and had to be repaired before filming could continue. With no press team to contact to ask for a statement on the matter, we've no way to corroborate this story. But with Tesla currently being sued over its marketing of Autopilot and full self-driving beta, these allegations could sting. When we know more, we will of course share. Transport and Environment, a European NGO that spearheaded the push towards clean transportation, has just published a new report that it says debunks the notion that synthetic fuels are cleaner than fossil fuels. The organisation, which has previously called on European governments to cease all subsidies for plug-in hybrid vehicles, commissioned research from French organisation IFP Energies Nouvelles. The research shows that synthetic petroleum products, otherwise known as e-fuels, emit just as much NOx as petroleum products refined from fossil fuels. The fossil fuel industry has been pushing a lot of money into the research and development of e-fuels, which are made by storing energy from renewable sources in the chemical bonds of liquid or gas fuels such as butanol, biodiesel, methane and butane. Interestingly, while e-fuels are often promoted by big oil, none are available to buy, so the research lab had to make its own. And since NOx is more harmful than CO2 to the climate, this is not good. The BMW iX electric SUV got its official crash test rating from EuroNCAP this week, and unlike the Renault ZOE, scored a perfect 5 out of 5, getting an impressive 91% for adult occupancy, 87% for child occupancy, and 73% for vulnerable road users. The iX's onboard suite of advanced safety features also saw it manage an 81% score on Safety Assist, which, while not enough to put it right at the top of the charts, does put it 12th in this year's ratings. With the rating official, BMW wasted no time and began official iX deliveries in Germany, celebrating not only the first iX deliveries, but the 1 millionth electrified vehicle to be delivered by the brand. I should remind you, though, that while electrified can mean a vehicle with a plug, it also includes hybrid vehicles and mild hybrid vehicles, which does make the milestone less impressive. In the last few weeks, we've been watching as the Volkswagen board deliberated over the future of Dr. Herbert Diess at the company. For those who don't know, Diess was appointed to the position of CEO of the Volkswagen Group after Dieselgate, and has been largely responsible for the Volkswagen Group's transition to electric vehicles. For the last few months, there have been rumblings that he would be replaced because of his push for electric vehicles, but this week we got the news that following a supervisory group board meeting, Diess will stay at the company, albeit with reduced responsibilities. He will continue as overall Volkswagen Group CEO, with responsibility for the Volkswagen, Skoda and Seat brands, and he will gain responsibility for the automotive software division, Car IAD. However, he will lose his role as head of Volkswagen China. While he does lose some power within the company, frankly, it's far better than many of us feared it would be. I'm sure that anyone who's travelled long distances by electric car can talk about some of the truly awesome places where charging stations are located, but then also some of the far more terrible places that they are located, often with poor or no amenities attached. Back when I was still in the UK, I remember lots of terrible charging experiences, but in recent years, a company called Gridserve has changed that with its electric forecourt, charging sites with attached amenities just for EV drivers. Now, following the success of some of its first electric forecourts, the company has announced a major expansion to its network, with 11 new electric forecourts already under construction across the UK motorway, and new electric forecourts planned for Gatwick Airport and the city of Norwich, both of which are off the motorway network, because Gatwick Airport isn't directly on a motorway and the county of Norfolk, where Norwich is and where I'm from, hasn't got a single motorway. I've yet to experience the electric forecourt, but I'm eager to give it a go. The Build Back Better bill, as promoted by the Biden administration, may have already passed the US House of Representatives, but the Senate has yet to do so. The bill includes legislation designed to increase the available incentives for EVs, removing previous limits on how many cars from each automaker are eligible for incentives, and adding a bonus incentive for US-made EVs, made at a union-supported factory. Tesla, which is famously anti-union, would miss out on that bonus, and Elon Musk has been pretty vocal about the shade that's been thrown Tesla's way by the Biden administration. But now Musk has come out against the Build Back Better bill in its entirety, stating that Tesla doesn't need it, and suggesting that the government look at fixing its budget deficit first. Since Musk is increasingly libertarian in his outlook, this isn't surprising. However, given the "I don't do politics" excuse that Elon Musk made when asked about Texas's anti-abortion policies, and yes, I am paraphrasing, it is a curious optic that Musk is now very much getting into politics and baiting several politicians in the process. Coming next, short shorts. But first, a word from one of today's sponsors, UGears. UGears combines everything you remember from the engineering toys you may have played with as a child with the beauty of sustainable wooden parts, the accuracy of laser-cut pieces, and the joy of fully functioning mechanical models. UGears offers a wide range of beautiful, fully functional 3D models that you can assemble yourself at home with no prior experience, with clear, easy-to-follow instructions right there in the accompanying beautifully made assembly book. There's no glue needed to assemble the parts, and you get everything you need inside the box to make your own model, including a few spares, ranging from simple creations suitable for ages 5 and up, all the way through to incredibly detailed engineering models like this amazing Roadster, complete with a working drivetrain and a wooden V8. Just listen. And the plywood used, it comes from sustainably managed forests and meets all international safety standards. We have teamed up with UGears, and we'd love you to check out its website, where you'll find a whole host of amazing, realistic mechanical models and kinetic sculptures. Prices start from just $10 and they work all the way up from there, so check out the link below to pick yours. Full disclaimer, we are working on a commission, so if you follow the link, we will get a kickback. On with the short shorts. Despite the 2022 Ford Mustang Mach E debuting with the same prices as the previous year's model, prices have now gone up. Depending on the variant, you'll be looking at somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 US before fees. US President Joe Biden has issued an executive order requiring the federal government's light-duty vehicle fleet to be zero-emission by 2027. But executive orders are easily overturned by future presidents, so its future does kind of depend on the voters. Earlier on in the show, we noted just 2 released EuroNCAP ratings this week, but there are some more to be shared, so let's look at them now. Sister company to Renault, Dacia, saw its Dacia Spring EV go through the EuroNCAP for the very first time. And like the Renault ZOE, it did badly, scoring just 49% for adult and 56% for child occupant safety. It scored just 1 star overall, which is frankly shocking. On the other side of the rating scale, the Mercedes-Benz EQB has been given a 5-star EuroNCAP rating. The agency examined the EQB and its combustion sibling, the GLB, deciding to extend the GLB's rating to the EQB without requiring further testing. Staying with Mercedes-Benz for a moment, its EQS electric flagship sedan also received a 5-star rating, with a 96% adult occupancy and 91% child occupant safety score, as well as pretty good figures for assistance systems and pedestrian safety. Going from a big sedan to a would-be super mini, Stellantis' next-generation Fiat 500e received a 4-star EuroNCAP rating, with a 76% adult occupant and 80% child occupant score. Come on, Stellantis, please bring the Fiat 500e to North America, please. When you think of Lamborghinis, you think of the roar of a powerful engine. But Lambo says its first EV will hit the road sometime around 2027. But the company remains committed to combustion engines as well, looking at PHEVs and synthetic fuels moving forwards. Swedish battery firm NorthVolt and Volvo Cars have officially partnered to build a new battery research and development centre that will focus on giving Volvo an end-to-end battery supply chain with batteries designed specifically for its cars. General Motors has announced the opening of the first dealership for the BrightDrop electric delivery van. With still limited production, GM plans to ramp up deliveries in 2022 and is sticking with a dealership sales model. The British High Court has ruled that ride-sharing companies are entering into contracts with its customers, and not that said companies act merely as agents between riders and drivers. The ruling may expand driver rights and will definitely impact on how ride-share companies operate in the UK. Most automakers tweak their cars every year, but Tesla is always tweaking and updating its vehicles. And now rumours are out in Europe suggesting that the company's best-selling Model Y and Model 3 may be getting a variety of changes early in the new year. So watch this space. With over $7 billion in federal funding for expanding charging access now being made available, more than 50 power companies across the USA have formed a coalition to expand DC rapid charging access, primarily along existing interstate highways. EV van and bus manufacturer Arrival has announced a new battery model assembly plant in Charlotte, North Carolina. The new multi-million-dollar facility will produce modules for its Charlotte-based van microfactory and its South Carolina electric bus factory. If we're going to meet Paris Agreement goals, simply electrifying transportation isn't going to be enough. According to the Institute for Transportation and Development Policy, electrification combined with a shift to more walkable cities and expanded mass transit are critical to our future. Tesla has expanded a pilot program in China designed to prevent icing of its supercharger stalls. A floor-mounted block, which can be deactivated from the Tesla app, prevents other vehicles from parking in a charging spot. We're interested to see how it will work out. The Volkswagen campervan is an automotive icon going back nearly 70 years, and now Volkswagen has confirmed that a camper variant of its upcoming ID. Buzz EV will be made. There's no word on if it'll be available in the US though, so keep your fingers crossed if you live there. The additional tax credits for EVs built by a unionised workforce have proven quite controversial in and out of the US legislature. Now, the Senate parliamentarian is examining the provision to determine if it meets US budgetary rules. As Volkswagen looks to secure its battery supply technology, the company has entered in strategic partnerships with dry coating specialist 24M materials science company Umicore and Vulcan Energy to supply it with zero-emissions lithium. The Polestar 2 single-motor variant has received an EPA range rating of around 270 miles. This means it beats out the similarly priced Tesla Model 3 single-motor on range, though Tesla is nearly 30% more efficient than the Polestar is. NHTSA has reached out to Tesla about on-screen video games being allowed to be used while its cars are in motion. Having a passenger playing a game on the car's infotainment system could potentially be distracting, but with Tesla and NHTSA often at odds, expect fireworks. Alaska is using its $1 million share of the Dieselgate settlement to build an EV charging corridor along the state's largest highway. 9 new charging sites, no more than 100 miles apart, will significantly expand EV usability in the 49th state. Ford's hotly anticipated F-150 Lightning hasn't begun deliveries yet, but Ford has already announced its next step, a high-volume electric truck that will be built on an all-new EV-specific platform at the plants Ford's announced earlier this year. Speaking of electric trucks, GM says that the Chevy Silverado EV, which will be revealed to the public at CES next month, will enter into production in early 2023. The R1T, F150 and possibly Cybertruck will have beaten it to the market, but it's still hotly anticipated. Tesla has temporarily stopped taking orders for its Model S and Model X outside of North America. Neither model has been delivered outside of the country for more than a year, so it's likely that Tesla wants to fulfill a backlog of existing orders before accepting new ones. NIO has been one of the few companies to make battery swapping commercially viable, and its battery swap stations in China have become very popular among NIO ES8 and ES6 owners. It's just celebrated installing its 700th swap station in the nation. EV aircraft firm Eviation has revealed the executive cabin design for its Alice model composite-built, electrically powered plane. With a 440 nautical mile range of the company claims it will be remarkably quiet and comfortable for its class. LG Energy Solutions is preparing to make its initial public offering, and analysts are expecting it to be the largest IPO in South Korean history. It's a real possibility that the IPO could place LG Energy as among the top 3 most valuable companies in South Korea today. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. While Porsche is relatively new to the EV world, having only begun production of its first electric car, the Porsche Taycan, just 2 years ago, it's already earning a reputation for incredibly well-engineered and sorted electric sports cars. And this week we saw a new Porsche EV unveiled, the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo, a beautiful track-ready GT with an 87 kWh battery pack, a sprint time of around 2 seconds, and a top speed in excess of 350 km per hour, 217 miles per hour. It's truly stunning in its design, but sadly, while it will be getting a lot of drivers excited, it won't ever be owned. You see, the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo is the brand's first concept study designed specifically for use in a computer game, and it will be making its debut as part of the hotly anticipated Gran Turismo 7, which will launch on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in March next year. I'm more of an iRacing gal, but honestly, I'll be buying Gran Turismo just to put this car through its paces. And keep your eyes peeled for winter's review of the Porsche Taycan GTS next week. And finally, the Aston Martin Lagonda is a car that frankly was far ahead of its time. A full-size luxury four-door sedan designed by William Towns, only 645 were actually made between 1974 and 1990. The Series 2, with pop-up lights and LCD clusters, touchscreen buttons and single-spoke steering wheel, are probably the most well-known, with the Series 3 adding CRT displays for the ultimate in mid-1980s high-tech. But because so few were made, very few are on the road today, and thus you might think of them as unlikely conversion candidates for an EV. But as the Furious Driving YouTube channel detailed this week, one surviving Series 3 Lagonda, which he jokingly calls the rustiest Aston Martin Lagonda in the world, is going all electric. Given the state of the car, purists shouldn't be too worried about the transformation, and we're going to be keeping a very close eye on what happens next. I just love seeing classic cars get a new lease of electric life. And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator and point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. Find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And another shout out to UGears. We all love the models that UGears makes, and we think that they would be the perfect gift for someone special in your life. There is still time to order them before the holidays. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell, both for this channel and for Transport Evolved Take 2. And don't forget to visit our swag store too, where you can buy this Transport Evolved hoodie that should blow away the bad sweater curses of holidays gone by. And if you are feeling chatty, don't forget to drop by our Discord server. It is free and the link is below. We're always welcoming of new Patreon supporters, or you can send us something through Ko-fi or Bitcoin. Anything you can send us will be greatly appreciated and go directly towards either paying the salaries of the 5 people now on the team or making sure that we can make it to CES next month. We are trying to be as absolutely lean as we possibly can be to help save up for the CES road trip, so know that we are operating as leanly as we possibly can. I will be back next week with another roundup show, but until then, keep your eyes peeled for some truly amazing content from the rest of the team, and as always, keep evolving! Next, short shorts. But first, a word from today's sponsor, UGears. UGears combines everything you remember from the engineering toys you may have played with as a child with the beauty of sustainable wooden parts, the accuracy of leather cut pieces.
Do you want to do it again because your hand didn't move?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Just try to get it a bit more flat. I was trying to like position it backwards.
I also did leather cut pieces.
Leather cut?
Leather cut pieces.
Leather cut to pieces.
I'm gonna go right back to the Bill has blah blah blah. Okay. We're doing well.